This is a really good example of a Japanese maple that you might have in your yard. And most people are afraid to prune Japanese maples because they're expensive, they think that they're delicate. But just think about them as any other tree. And most trees will benefit from pruning because they get more sunlight, they get better aeration, and aesthetically they look much better after they're pruned. So the first thing that you do, that I would do on a tree like this, is just walk around the tree and see which branches don't look good, which branches could withstand pruning, and any branch that you prune right now will benefit the rest of the tree because it's going to make the rest of the tree stronger. So the first thing that I see is this branch right here that is curving inward toward the center of a tree. You don't like to do that, because just picture this branch 20 years from now, really thick, and this branch down here is another thick branch. So the two of them will merge together, or a donut will be created in the center of the tree. You don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my concave pruners that cut flush and just remove this branch from the tree. It already looks nicer, more airy. This is another branch that is going toward the center of the tree. It's not as strong as the previous branch. So you could leave this here maybe for another year, and next year you can prune. And that's the thing about pruning. You don't have to take all the branches right away. You can selectively prune some branches this year, and then next year address the same issue and see if if it's recommended to prune it. This one eventually, if it becomes a strong branch, will be pruned because it's going toward the center. You want the branches to go away from the center like this and create their own platform. Here we have two branches that are one on top of the other. If this branch continues to grow, this branch below will not receive any sunlight. So when you cut a Japanese maple, you have to remember that you have to cut to a live pair of buds. And here's a live pair of buds right here. So for this branch, I'm going to cut this far. For this branch, I'm going to cut this far. Here's a live pair of buds right there. Okay, you never cut to bare wood. You have to have something that the tree is going to have a start from. These buds in the spring become two new branches. So one bud will create a branch that goes this way, and one bud will create a branch that goes this way. So we'll proceed all the way around the tree. Here's a branch that is higher than the other ones. You can prune this branch to here just to allow a little bit more sunlight. Here's branches that are going to crash toward each other in the future. So this branch you can cut all the way down to here. It keeps this branch from curving in and obstructing these branches here, and it also allows sunlight to penetrate to the lower branches. Okay, so the same thing over here. I'm going to cut this branch back to here. Okay, this branch is going to be cut back to here. So I'm reducing the size of the tree because you don't have unlimited space around your tree. So you're going to cut it back so that you can keep the tree within the same area where you planted it. Here's another cut that I'm going to make, reducing the size of the tree this way. Here's another one. If you had the space over here to allow the tree to continue, you would, you could let this grow a little longer. And it's all a personal choice. When you do these trees, you don't even have to do all the pruning the same day. You have all winter to prune this tree. So as soon as the leaves fall off in November, you can start pruning it, and then just take your time. Here's a branch that is going straight up. I'm going to eliminate it because I want a flat platform here. These branches here that have straight up buds, I'm going to also reduce them somewhat so that they will be flat. Here's a branch that's very strong, and it kind of It's out of proportion to the rest of the tree. It saps the energy from the rest of the tree. So you could take it back all the way, or you can cut it back quite a bit, like this, just to allow the sun to penetrate to the lower branch over there. There's another one that I'm reducing for the same reason. There's one that is going straight up, so I'm going to cut it to one pair of buds. Here's another one, same thing. Here's another one that's definitely going straight up, and it's a strong branch. So here's a pair of buds, the first pair of buds. I'm going to cut it back to that. Here's a branch that is going this way. It's not going toward the center of the tree, it's on the outside of the tree, but it will shade these bottom branches that we want to keep. As you can see here, the branches that receive the sunlight are very strong. The ones that don't receive a lot of sunlight don't look as strong. The buds are smaller, the branch looks weaker, but this branch could come back if it's not being overpowered, if the sunlight can penetrate. Okay, so we're going to continue to go around here. This branch, it should have been cut back last year in a lot of the garden centers that don't prune the trees. So you're going to have to do the pruning. I don't have. It has live buds over here that you can take the branch back to. But if I take it back to this branch here, this is sticking straight up, so I really don't like to do that very much. And again, when I'm cutting this back, I'm not cutting it back to a pair of buds, but there is a little bud over here that will continue to grow. So I like to cut them better to a pair of buds that are flat on the branch and further toward the outside of the branch. When you cut back to buds that are on the inner part of the branch, they're not as strong as the terminal buds. Okay, so we'll continue to progress here. Here's another dead branch that I'm cutting. Here's more dead branches. Now here's a branch that is going all the way across to the other side. This one's going to have to go because it's just going the wrong way. It's clashing against the other branches. So this branch is going to be cut. And as you can see, that open up the center of the tree. Here's a branch that is going too high. Unless you wanted to make this branch a leader, which is the next layer, this branch looks totally out of place. So you can cut this back, or you can cut it back all the way, or you can cut it back to just two branches here, two little branches that have little buds. And sometimes you do that just to, when the tree comes out, to have a little bit of color here, so you don't have a dead branch. I really don't like the way that it looks, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it back all the way. That's the other thing too, when you have a young tree like this. Sometimes you have secondary buds that come up here on the trunk, and they create little branches like this. And if you cut these branches, the trunk, a clean trunk like this would make the tree look a lot older than it is. If you leave a lot of these branches, the tree looks disorganized, it doesn't look very clean, and it looks really nice when you have a clean trunk to go back to.